welcome to BeesBooks. I'm Leanne and today I'm going to be doing my February wrap-up and my March TBR. So first off, I want to do my wrap-up for February. I only read 4 books, well, I was going to say I only read 3 books, but I don't actually have the 4th book that I read because I read it on ebook, so I forgot to actually write down a little bit of notes for that, but sure, be grand. So first off, I'm going to start with The Loneliest Girl in the Universe. This is actually the last book I read in February, and I started it April last year in 2020, but I was really enjoying it. I sat down and read like the first half in like one full reading, like one full sitting, and I really enjoyed it. Now I went into this expecting a completely different story than what I got. I thought it was going to be a romance and I got something completely different. And the ending of this book was completely unsettling. I did not enjoy, but the last 10 to 15 pages redeemed itself, so I quite enjoyed the ending, but not that little chunk in the middle there where the genre kind of changed a little bit. Rami is the loneliest girl in the universe. She is the only one on her spaceship after a terrible accident kills all of the other astronauts, and then her parents also pass away, and so she's alone, and there's this boy Jay making his way to her on another ship that was sent out a few years after, well, about 15-16 years after, but it's faster and it's better technology, so it's going to make it to her soon, and it counts down the days from when she left Earth and when the Eternity is going to meet her. I think she's on the Infinity. It's called the Infinity. I'm always bad with names. I always forget them. But the ship that's coming to her with the boy Jay on it is called the Eternity. And I really liked Rami as a character. I thought she was really interesting. She kind of has very fangirl, fandom vibes. But because she's a teenager, she does become a little bit obsessive over the boy that's on his way to her. And then the way the story of her parents and the astronauts is handled was really intriguing and a little bit disturbing at times, but I did like how that wrapped up. But the character of Jay kind of became a little bit weird near the end of the book. It kind of ruined it for me. So if you're interested in this book, I do say I'm not going to tell you what the twist is, because I enjoyed it, but not as much as I thought I would. But I think personally you need to not know about what's going to happen and what type of genre this book is, because that's what really got me. That's what made me feel how the character was feeling in the moments, because this author is really good at making you feel how Rami is feeling. So I would recommend this, but it's an interesting one, so go into it with a grain of salt and see how you feel. Forever by Maggie Steve Otter. I read this at the beginning of the month. This is a very disorganised wrap up, but I'm just doing it how they're organised in the cards. So this is the conclusion to the Wolves of Mercy Fall series, and I think it was a really good wrap up. Although the end did kind of feel a little unfinished for me personally. I don't like how it ended exactly, but this book basically follows Grace and Sam and their developing relationship after the events of Linger, and then it also follows Isabel and Cole's relationship and how they develop, and it's really good. It's really fuzzy and heartwarming. Grace and Sam are just the cutest relationship in books, and I just sometimes really want a happy, fuzzy, cute, romantic relationship. But there's quite high stakes in this book because they're following the war between Mr. Culpepper and the wolves. So there's a kind of time limit that they're working against, trying to save their loved ones. And I thought that was done really well, and it was really intense at times. And I was really worried and excited and sad all at the same time for all of my favourite characters. And there are scenes in here where you're really unsure whether they're going to make it out okay, and I just thought it was really good overall, and I would really recommend this series to anyone who just wants a cute kind of bingey love story that's got a little bit of fantastical nature in it. And yeah, so I read that. Then I have Sinner, which is actually the spin-off of Forever. And now this doesn't actually follow the main characters, Grace or Sam, at all. They're mentioned once or twice, I think, in this book. But this follows Isabel and Cole, and they've moved, and this is kind of very heavily music focused. And if you know anything about Cole, you might understand what I'm talking about. And now I'm going to go a little bit spoilery. I don't want to spoil for anyone, but this basically follows Cole trying to become a rock star again, and him trying to win back Isabel after the end of Forever. But I really loved Isabel in Forever, and she's a really interesting character, and I was very excited to read a book that focused mainly on her and Cole. And so I really enjoyed the dynamic between the two of them, and how you can see Cole grow as a person and realise, hey, I don't really want to be that kind of pricky person anymore. Like, he wasn't much of a prick in the other books, but like, he doesn't want to go back to his old ways as a rock star. He's trying to, you know, come clean and do things properly, whereas like there's people in here who try to tempt him back to like his addictions and stuff. So it was really enjoyable to like see how they dealt with those situations in this book. And I would say that if you weren't very keen on Isabel or Cole in the Wolves of Mercy Fall series, I don't say this is a good one to go into. But if you are interested in like music and stuff, and you're kind of okay with them as characters, they'd be this would be a good book to go into, because it really focuses heavily on the music side, and then how Isabel and Cole are as people. So it's not just them together, it's like Isabel's life and then Cole's life. It's very interesting, and I really enjoyed it. Now, I don't actually have the next book, but I'm actually just going to hold up one of the books in the series, just so I have something to hold, because it feels awkward if I don't. Just for the time being, because I don't know how to crop photos at the moment. But anyway, I digress. But I read Saga Volume 4, and I read it on ebook because I actually don't have a copy of it in physical. It's the only one I don't have, because I got all of these at the library before Ireland shut down. So I have all these books on hold from the library at the moment, and I'm slowly working my way through, because I only own the last one. I'm going to be spoilery because I don't know how to talk about this series without spoiling stuff. So this volume takes place, it picks up after Alana has joined the open circuit. So it follows Marco and Alana's journey as a working parent and a non-working parent, like a stay-at-home dad. And so basically Marco starts to try to keep care of Hazel alone as Alana works every day in the open circuit, and he starts bringing her to like playgrounds and stuff, and you know, she's just a typical toddler. You want to get her energy taken out, and I think that part of the book is really sweet. But Alana's story is a little bit more dark and grim, because she hates working at the open circuit. It's like the worst job ever. She can't relax. Like she's always uptight about the whole thing, because everyone there is high all the time, and they're taking this drug which I've forgotten the name of, and Alana gets wrapped up in this, and that part of the book really made me uncomfortable. Like, I read this series a few years back, and I didn't mind Volume 4. It was alright. I gave it like 4 stars. But this time around, I'm a little bit more in tune with the world, and the way Marco and Alana's relationship starts to kind of become strained in this volume because of her drug abuse, and him starting to, like, you know, keep care of the child, and he starts to get friendly with a ballet dance teacher, and it really makes me uncomfortable. I know I'm not really talking about any of the other characters and like the Will and the robot in this, but what stuck with me is the relationship between Marco and Alana in this, and it really doesn't hold up in comparison to my original read. Like, I think I gave it like 2 or 3 stars this time around. because it made me very uncomfortable seeing Alana doing drugs, and then she gets mad at Marco because he's trying to keep care of their child, and it makes me really uncomfortable. And then seeing the grandmother mourning the loss of the doctor heist is just a little bit too close to home. I don't like stuff like that, so I'm glad to like read on and see the rest of the series, because I really like volume 7 and 8. Those are some of the ones I like the most, so I'm gonna power through anyway. But at the end of the book there's like they get separated, and it's very, very like sad for me, so I don't really like volume 4. I know this isn't volume 4, but I don't really like it, so that's my take on volume 4. I know it wasn't a very good review, but that's just how I feel. I just wanted to talk about my feelings for volume 4. I just didn't like it very much, so that's the end of my wrap-ups now, because those are all the books I read. So I'll be going on to my March TBR now. So first off, for my March TBR, I'm participating in the Irish Readathon, and like I felt, because I'm an Irish like booktuber, I thought might as well join this readathon, because I only just heard about it and I think it's a really good idea. But sadly, most of my books aren't by any Irish authors. But if you do just decide to join the Irish Readathon, I do recommend trying to get Irish authors. I'm adding in an Irish author as an extra read, but it just didn't fit any of the prompts, so just prefacing that. So first off, one of the first, like, what are they called? Prompt. The first prompt is to read a person of colour, or like an LGBT book. So, and I chose to do The Poet X by Angie Thomas, because I'm listening to this on audiobook at the moment, and I'm really, really enjoying it, because I prefer, like, if it's written, like, there's Spanish in this, so I'd rather listen to an audiobook for it, because that way then I'm not butchering the language and I can actually hear how it's supposed to sound, and it's really, really enjoyable, and the poetry just sounds really, really good. And yeah, so then the next prompt is a book with a green cover, and I know this isn't exactly 100% green, but it's got a bit of green on it, and it's kind of a green blue, so it'll just have to do. I don't have very many green books, and I want to kind of keep these short because I have a very ambitious TBR for March. But I'm in the process of, I began in An Absent Dream, and I'm like reading a chapter or 2 a night, because I want to take this slow. I really like these series, and yeah, I just thought it'd be good for green. Then the next prompt is a non-fiction, and so I don't own any non-fiction books besides this one, which is Women in Science, and I began this a few years ago, but I want to just read the entire thing this month, so I'm going to read like a few like pages about each person every single day until the end of the month, and I'm looking forward to that. Then the next one is mythology and folklore, and now I think this works as a folklore mythology retelling, because it's like a retelling of the like Little Mermaid, of the Sea Witch, like from Little Mermaid before she became the Sea Witch. I don't really have any mythology, and any of the mythology I do have is about ghosts, and I don't know if that counts. So I'm gonna just go with the Sea Witch, and it was something I wanted to put on my TBR anyway, so it kind of fit into this, and also it could work for green, so this is on TBR. And then I have a new to you author, and I thought I'd pick a nice and easy one, which is a manga, because I'm doing like a read the first volume manga for this month, and I chose Black Torch, and I thought this would be really interesting. I started it and like most of the way through, so I'm very excited to finish this. And then that brings me into the try a first volume of manga for the month, because it was my birthday there on the 4th, so I got a lot of manga and books of that sort for my birthday, so I thought I might as well give the first volume of each of those a try. And we've already seen that I'm doing the first volume of Black Torch, but I'm also doing the first volume of Black Butler, and I actually don't have the other 2 volumes on me yet. I'm going to do Death Note and Blue Exorcist, volume 1 of each, because they're in the post, so I'm very excited to get into Death Note because I really enjoy that. So those are my 4 manga volumes for the month of March. Then we have the Bookoplathon, 48-hour readathon that I'm going to be doing. Me and my boyfriend are going to sit in for the weekend and read a load of books and just join Becca and all of the other hosts in the Bookoplathon, because I really like readathons, especially ones that are like 24-hour, 48-hour, but I always miss them, so I've planned ahead. The whole weekend is free and I'm joining this one. So again, for her, we have just 2 prompts so far for the Bookoplathon, and the rest will be given to us throughout the readathon. So for the first prompt, it's read a book with a dark cover, and I don't have it with me, so I'm going to hold up Black Butler because I like to hold up books. I don't feel comfortable doing this yet, but anyway, so it's going to be Death Note because that's completely black cover. I'm going to read that during the Bookoplathon readathon, because manga goes really quick, and I thought it would be a good idea to, you know, double up books rather than adding more to my TBR, because I think I have like 18 books on my TBR this month, which is kind of more than I expected. And then there's also another double up, which is read fantasy, and I decided to double up with the Irish Readathon and bring In an Absent Dream into my Bookoplathon readathon, because by next week I'll probably be close to finishing this, so I might as well finish it off on the day, and that'll get 2 prompts for 2 different readathons complete. Then I just have books that I want to continue or begin in March. So I have a lot of books that I've been reading for quite a while and I've not finished, or that I just put down for whatever reason. So first off, I have Clockwork Prince, and this isn't even the copy that I'm reading. I don't know where it went. So I read like Clockwork Angel there last year, maybe the year before, I can't remember. I started this, I was reading it on ebook, and then I kept forgetting that I was reading it and putting it down. So I hope to get a little bit of this read this month, because I want to read through Cassandra Clare books this year, because I have quite a lot of Cassandra Clare books, and I've only read the first series as far as book 5, so need to, you know, catch up on her books. So Clockwork Prince is in my my TBR, not a read. Oh my god. Then I have, remember that Irish author I mentioned earlier? Well, I have this hunk of a book by Derek Landy, and the Skulldugger Pleasant series is my favourite, and I've been doing a reread since last year. Me and my boyfriend are reading through all of his books on audiobook on Script, and I started this in about, I don't remember when I started it, but I never finished it. So I need to read off the end of this book. I have about that much left. So I'm going to try to finish this off either in the Bookoplathon or just near the end of March, because I want to get on to the rest of his books. So Derek Landy, Kingdom of the Wicked. It's actually called Skulldugger Pleasant, not Derek Landy, but sure. Apparently I can't read. Then I started Crescent City at the start of this year, and I do not plan to finish this in March. This would probably kill me. I just plan to read another 50 pages. I'm kind of doing 50 pages every few weeks or so, because I really want to enjoy this book, but it also keeps putting me in a slump. So I'm just going to take my time and read through this at my own pace, because her writing is interesting. I have never read a Sarah J Maas book before, so I'm gonna attempt to read 50 pages, maybe more, who knows. And then on to books that I haven't actually began, but are either part of a series I'm reading or something I really want to pick up and try. So next up I have Saga Volume 5 and 6, as you probably saw in my wrap up of Volume 4. I'm not very excited to read Volume 5, but it has a lion cat on the cover, and anything with lion cat in it makes me happy, so I'm gonna try to read both of these in March. And then I have How the King of Elfhame Learned to Hate Stories. Now, the audiobook for this is only like an hour and a half, and I listen to audiobooks on like 2x speed, so I'm thinking of just flipping through and looking at the... Oh, usually I can find art easier than that. I'm just going to flip through the book while I'm listening to the audiobook during the Bookoplathon, because it'll be very quick. It'll probably only be like an hour in total for me to read this, and then I'll get to see all the art at the same time, because I listened to all of the Folklore series on audio and I really like the narrator, so I think I'm going to do that. So How the King of Elfhame Learned to Hate Stories is on my TBR as well. And then I have two books left. I have another very short World Book Day Scullery Pleasant book, Apocalypse Kings. It came out on my birthday. I was very excited to get this, and it's very short, so it's also probably just going to be held on to until the Bookoplathon, because I want to read as many of the prompts as I can during that time, but I don't want to overload myself with very big books. So this is one of his short stories that takes place before inside the books that I have already read, so that's good. Not from his newer series, so I can actually read this, so I'm excited. And then last up I have The Alchemists of Loom by Eliza Kova. Now I'm really interested in just all of her books. They all seem so interesting, but they're very expensive, so I happened to pick this up really cheap, secondhand, so I'm very excited to try it out. And I also found all of these the Loom, like Alchemists of Loom books on Scribd as well, so if I find her writing a little bit difficult to get into, I might listen to it on audiobook. But yeah, I would just want to begin this at least in March. But if I end up finishing it in March, so be it. I'll be very excited to do that at least, but it seems like something I'm gonna like. So that's it for my March TBR. It's absolutely massive. I don't usually apply that many books to my TBR, but I wanted to give myself like room to just pick and choose, especially because I'm doing 2 readathons. I don't want to be stuck on the 48-hour readathon reading a book I really don't like and then be like, shit, I don't know what I want to pick up. At least now I have a preordained list of books that I want to read, so hopefully I'll get through at least half of them and complete the readathons. That's my goal. That'll be good. And then read bits and chunks of all the other ones. So thank you so much for watching, and I really hope you were intrigued by my very ambitious TBR, or that you enjoyed my wrap-ups. I know I'm not the greatest reviewer, but I'm getting there, I'm trying, and I hope you all have an amazing evening, or wherever you are. Have a great day. Bye now.